This is Eastmans Elevated podcast. I have on great guests that are really knowledgeable, consistently successful. We're able to dive deep down the rabbit holes of these different subject matters of shooting, of physical fitness, of mental toughness and drive. All the different skills that make up a complete hunter that you can become.
Here's your host, Brian Barney.
Hey, what's happening, guys? We've got a brand new podcast for you. So this week I have on Logan Erdman. I really enjoyed getting to meet and sit down with Logan and have a conversation. Logan is a diehard elk hunter. He's also a knife builder, and he's really got an inventor's mind. He's got a bunch of great ideas of things that have helped him in his bow hunting, both multi-purpose items and we get into wind checkers again. That's been a hot topic here on the podcast lately, but he's just got a bunch of great ideas. It was a great conversation that I really enjoyed, and I know you guys are going to enjoy it too. I want to thank our sponsor for the show, Zamberlan Boots. Zamberlan builds the highest quality boots available. I'm so impressed and amazed by these boots. They have actually brought me back to using a hiking boot. As you guys know, I love to hunt in tennis shoes and have for the last handful of years. And Zamberlan offers a pair of those too. They offer a pair of 103 Hike Light RRs. And what these are is they're water resistant, but they're just a burlier tennis shoe. I use mine for an entire year for work, for hunting. I even run in the wintertime in them. I just absolutely love them, and they've held up to all the abuse I put them through. In fact, I'm about ready to wear out the bottoms on my first set. So they make great tennis shoes. They also make that lightweight hiker. It's a low-height boot, and I believe these boots really help propel you down the trail. They help in side-hilling fatigue and calf fatigue, and so I like wearing these on my big mountain hunts. The boots I'm using are the Zamberlan 320 Trail Light GTXs. Just a great boot. I've had them for over a year. They're still waterproof, which is just amazing to me. I'm used to the waterproofing on boots wearing out in about a month, so to actually have dry feet is amazing. So I love Zamberlan. I love everything they stand for and really appreciate their support on the podcast. If you guys are in the market for a new set of boots, make sure to check out Zamberlan. I also want to thank Eastmans. Eastmans has supported this podcast from the very beginning. They support me on all my ventures. I've got a fly fishing specific podcast, Eastmans Flycast, that they support. And they've just been a great company to work for. So make sure to check out everything we have going on at Eastmans. Check out Eastmans Bow Hunting Journal, Eastmans Hunting Journal. We just had a new episode come out at Eastmans Bow Hunting Journal. I was able to write this article about finding next level bucks. It's a great article. I'm really happy at the way it came out in the spread, the look of the way they put the pictures in with the text. They make me look really good, better than I am. So thanks to those guys for that. But check out the magazines. Check out our internet research tool, Tag Hub. Make sure to check out our internet TV show. You can find that at Eastman's Hunting TV. And you can see the newest episodes that have come out. We just released a couple episodes that I did a while back, an elk hunt and then a high country mule deer hunt, I believe in Wyoming. So some great hunts. They're going to continue to release some of my past hunts and some of my new hunts on there, so be on the lookout for that. And with that, just getting these podcasts ready to roll. By the time this comes out, I'll have been elk hunting for a week. Super excited to cut these legs loose and go chase some bulls. Doesn't get any more thrilling or any more exciting than hunting elk during the rut. So I wanted to make sure to get out these elk hunting podcasts during elk season to give you guys some good information coming in. Hope you guys are having some good elk hunting and getting into some good action. It's just the absolute funnest time of the year. So make sure you're enjoying your time in the field, your time in the woods, and the entire process. And hope you guys find some success this season. With that, let's get into this podcast. Logan Erdman. This is Eastmans Elevated. I'm your host, Brian Barney. Here we go. Okay, I've got Logan Erdman on the phone. Logan, it's really nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so you you absolutely live bow hunting, and you've fallen in love with hunting elk out west. So tell me a little bit about your introduction into elk hunting.
Well, it all started when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old, and I heard an elk bugle on like the Outdoor Channel, and I was sold, man. They were bow hunting them, like full-blown rutting bulls. It was like some primos. You remember the old primos bow hunting where like the elk were just bugling all over the place and just giant like 300 class bulls just around every tree. Yeah, I saw some of that and I was like, one day that's going to be me, and here we are.
Does it live up to the hype?
Well, there's not a 300 or 350 inch bull behind every tree, but some of the adventures that it's led me to, it's not a sport. It's a way of life for me, truly. When they say it's a lifestyle, the bow hunting will rule you, man.
It is. It takes absolute, complete dedication and commitment. And especially if you're goal orientated and want to do better and improve your hunting skills. But yeah, elk is one of those things that it hooks you. A lot of these hunts I go on, I think to myself, boy, I'd like to do that one time in my life. I'd like to hunt those things, whatever it is, tar in the Southern Alps, or I'd like to hunt, mule deer in the high country, or rutting bulls, in big western mountains. And then you go do that said thing that's your once in a lifetime, and you figure out pretty soon that it's like the coolest thing that you've ever done. It's like, man, I have got to figure out a way to do this every single year. But I always get hooked on these hunts, and that's what your elk hunting reminds me of. Something that you really wanted to do that turned into a lifestyle, into a passion that now you work 365 at, and it has to be that way to try to expect any chance at success, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, man. I just told my wife the other day, I said, the only time it ain't elk season is when it's deer season. And she just looked at me. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's elk season all the time. And she agreed. So if I can get her on board, then it's contagious, man. I took her to Colorado, I think it was 2016, and she made it 2 days. It looked like I was up there on a mountain beating her with a ball-peen hammer. I mean, her legs were just, I said, I don't know if you just bruised like a peach or if this country is really just that nasty, but she made it 2 days and was very rough for her, but she was determined to go back. So not last year, the year before, I brought her back to Idaho, man, and she just rocked it. But she took it seriously, and she was like, I need to start eating better, and I need to start working out because I'm not going to be the reason you don't kill a bull this year. And it was really eye-opening for me to be like, wow, like that 2 days, and I think we did like 3 miles a day in those 2 days. The day after she left, I went and did 12 by myself, but I was like, wow, like 6 miles in the Rockies was enough of an impact for her to change her lifestyle. And it changed my lifestyle too. She started cooking all this healthy food, and I was questioning her big time.
It's what it takes. Like the mountains will humble anyone. The elevation, and then especially if you're backpack hunting, carrying that weight on your back, all that's just the equalizer, and pretty soon it gets to be work. And I think with all hunting, it tests your dedication. It tests how bad you want it while you're on that hunt or while you're on said hunt, because it's like that type 2 fun that's not fun all the time. Like sometimes it's grueling and it's tough and it's downright miserable, but it's that type 2 fun that when you get done, the feeling of accomplishment, of being able to walk those miles, or the toughness, or I don't know if the pain just washes away and all you do is remember like the good times and the excitement. And guys like me and you, we've seen the payoff. We've gotten into those elk, arrowed elk, like I've killed really good 6 points, and so I've seen that payoff, and so I know what the payoff is and how good it feels. And so for me, I'll walk barefoot through broken glass to get there. It's like whatever it takes. Miles, elevation, it doesn't matter. The next mountain, it doesn't matter. And I'm in it to win it and in it to find my own limits. But through that, I have so much fun. Like I come home or I get done with that hunt and I push myself mentally and physically and I come back and that's all I can think about is being back in the mountains. Similar for you?
Absolutely. And I'm always learning stuff out there. And I think that's a big part of what draws me to the mountains is the constant learning and the growth. You never know when you're gonna learn or like something's just gonna click. It's like you said, a super humbling and addictive experience. And I would encourage anybody, like if there's a part of you that wants to get into it, then do it, man, because it'll change you.
Oh, dude, I love what I love what you said. Like always learning. Like I've been hunting Western game my entire life and devoted my entire life to it, or structured my whole life so I can do more of it. But I'm still constantly learning. There's just no limit to where you can go, and I think that's one of the things that's so appealing about it. And it rewards creative thinking. It rewards thinking outside the box. It rewards hard work and effort, and I love those life lessons. To me, like that's the funnest thing. And so yeah, I think that's a big part of it is it keeps us learning it, and I think that's what keeps the passion alive is that you just never stop trying to improve or trying to get better. I'm trying to be a better version of myself this season. More miles, more arrows, just finely tuned, just sharpened steel, to where you go into this season and maybe you're not perfect, but make a lot of good decisions and able to rely upon my instincts and hopefully fill some tags with some trophy critters.
Absolutely, man. And I could totally relate with the trying to get better. Last year, I think my third access on my sight was off, and I had no idea. I went down to Texas and hunted some pigs, and I ended up missing one, and then I wounded one, and it was so strange. Like I would stand at 20 on flat ground and just be center punching them, climb up into the tree and shooting a mile to the right, and I could not figure it out. So I stripped everything off my bow and I started like stringing everything. I was just like, I'm going to start from a bear riser and just restart. New sight. I switched over. I was shooting an IQ before, an IQ 7 pin, and I switched it over to a Spot Hog, Tommy Hog. And I was kind of apprehensive because of like the roll in the dial and just I got the double pin. I was apprehensive. It was intimidating to me. So I got my bow tuned and we sighted it in, and I was just shooting like 100% better. My third axis was dialed in. I was shooting great. And I was just like, man, this is the confidence I was looking for. And then out of the blue, like a switch, target panic. And I had to reevaluate my whole shooting situation. It turned out that shooting groups, I think, was getting in my head. I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody else, but I would start off strong and then just overthink it. So I had to just stop myself, and now I just shoot one arrow, and I can shoot one arrow and hit the mark just about every time now. At least keep it in the insert at some of those longer ranges. And the whole.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's like the whole single pin thing really did help me. Just that clear sight picture. So trying to be a better archer for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's making those improvements, and yeah, I love the roller sights. Like they take a little bit more time and effort to set up, but there's nothing like holding your pin exactly where you want to hit, like not having to gap shoot. So yeah, what a great improvement. And then yeah, that target panic, it creeps up, and it's actually the more arrows you shoot, the worse it gets. Your brain's starting to anticipate that shot going off every time that pin's in the middle. And so yeah, a lot of guys can solve it. I know, Dan Picard shoots a command style shooting with his trigger release, and so he's the same way where he takes breaks from his bow. He doesn't shoot too many arrows. He's able to get dialed in, and he's able to keep it in check that way. And everybody's different, and definitely shooting that trigger style release, shooting less arrows, and then also just working on that trigger execution, being able to let that bow aim in the middle as you squeeze on the trigger and not say now, and when it gets in the middle, being able to squeeze on that trigger is allowing yourself to aim at that middle of the bullseye and letting it swim around in there. So practice that too as you're shooting. But you guys got to keep that in check. Like that target panic, it doesn't come when you first start shooting. It comes later in your years of shooting, and it's usually the more you shoot, you start to develop it, that shot anticipation. And so that's when a lot of us guys, start leaning towards back tension shooting and retraining our brain and the whole deal. But we're all individuals. We just gotta solve our own puzzles.
Yeah, the single pin kind of got me, but what I've been doing lately is practicing at 50 yards with my dial set at 25, and I'm just using the junction of my bubble level and my sight post, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
it does. So you're not holding the pin on the bullseye. You've got a different thing. But see, the deal is your brain will start to anticipate that shot eventually too. Like it starts to figure out your tricks, because my pin would always aim low, 6 o'clock. That was how my target panic crept in. And now I could fight against it. I could get my pin up. I could still shoot decent shots in decent groups. But it was like, man, if I could just hold my pin on the middle like it held low there, so I could set my bow to where my bow would hit high, so my pin would aim low, and then it'd stick the arrows in the bullseye when I was practicing. But my brain will start to anticipate that too, and all of a sudden my brain won't let me hold low anymore. It'll make me hold lower than that. Man, the brain's a weird trick. Like you gotta conquer your own beast and figure out your own route. But that target panic, man, it's rough.
Well, I think part of my apprehension was like, I like the multi-pins, so if I'm at full draw and the animal moves, I can make a quick adjustment because, like I said, my wife, she'll usually be filming for me, and I have her have a rangefinder, so her job is to kind of range if something goes awry. But I was worried, I'm like, well, what if I'm at full draw and he moves? Well, I got the double pin. So, you have multi pins on your dial sight, or do you shoot a dial sight? Or?
Yep. I shoot a slider. I shoot a 5-pin slider.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's just got the single post, and there's 2 pins on that post.
Yep.
And then on the side of it, there's like 2 arrows that tell you your yardages.
Mm-hmm.
I went through and I wrote all of those yardages on my bow riser. So if I'm at 20 yards, I'm shooting 37 on my second pin. If I'm at 25 yards, then I'm at 37 on my second pin. And I also wrote some stuff on my sight ring to kind of help me remember my shot sequence. But what I was getting at earlier was it kind of freaked me out. Like, what if the animal moves? But like I said, I can shoot at 50 yards with the junction of my sight post and my level, with my dial at 25 yards. So anybody that's like, well, what if he moves? There's still ways around, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get you. You have a reference point for different yardages. I see what you're saying is when you're rolled up, then you've got, a 50-yard spot you can aim, or that second pin, and so you've got a reference. I think that's one of the advantages of like a multi-pin slider, and I've always said that is, then when you're dialed, for me, for a 5-pin slider, I've got 20 through 60 if I need it quick, which usually I like to dial, but wherever I dial, I've got a reference 10 yards above that, and so like to be able to say, okay, he went 5 yards, okay, split the pin now, now aim in between those 2 pins. And so, yeah, it does give you like a reference to where you can adjust a couple yards, 5 yards, 10 yards on the fly, which isn't so important like on mule deer and things, but definitely like elk and antelope, where they're always moving and everything's always changing, and you're trying to get a shot. It can definitely be advantageous. The argument against it for just a single pin, and maybe yours is this way where you get to take advantage of all of the above. But the advantage that I've seen from a single pin is, this is the argument my buddy Dan Heverin makes, is he says, yes, you have a reference point, but he says the majority of the animals I shoot at, I'm going to dial their yardage. And he says, sure, I can tell 2-3 yards and hold a little high or hold a little low. And his point of view is that everything is centered, so he gets more consistent shooting out of it, because his peep is centered, his sight housing is centered, and then his single pin is centered. So my 5 pins, my slider pin is not centered in my sight housing, if this makes any sense. So he says center, center, center. He shoots better groups and more accurate, and he'd rather have his bow set up that way just because he shoots it better than to have like a 3-pin slider or a 5-pin slider where it's not exactly centered. Makes sense.
Right, absolutely. And I think that just goes to like everything in bow hunting and archery is just some give and take. I think everything, especially now, everybody's just upping up their game with technology and improvements, and like some of the range finders and stuff is just like, it's mind blowing, the stuff coming out nowadays. But it's a give and take. So I don't know. You probably just have to play with it and dial it to the way that you hunt. I think application is everything.
Oh yeah, no, you're spot on. I like that give and take. And also personal preference. It's like looking at tents. So sure, the lightest weight thing the lightest weight shelter you can get is a bivy sack. But a bivy sack, it sucks to sleep in. It sucks to ride out rainstorms in. It sucks for mosquitoes. Can't breathe in that thing. You get condensation. So you give up comfort for weight. But then you can go to a 4-pound tent that's a double wall design that self-sets up. It can set in the wind, but you have to give up that weight for this durability, or for this bomb-proof shelter, for the space, Or you come in somewhere in between, like what I like to use, like a bivy tent, 1.5 pounds, maybe 1.75 pounds by the time I get my stakes in there. Sets up with a trekking pole, can ride out storms, but the walls can get flapping around a little bit. It's not the tightest setup, like you set it up with a trekking pole and your own stakes. So every time, kind of the skill is the setup a lot has to do with your skill and also the place you're setting it up at. And usually it's not a flat spot, it's on a hillside. But you're so right, with archery, with backpacking, with whatever it is, it's give and take, and it's personal preference. And you said it at the best at the beginning of the conversation, where you said building confidence in it. And no matter what your weapon, no matter what your process, no matter how you go about it, as long as you have confidence in that weapon and confidence in your ability, critters are going to die.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, confidence kills, man. Confidence, that's why, I don't know. It's something like, yeah, can I go out in a pair of Chuck Taylors and kill some deer or kill some elk? Yeah, but I'm probably not as confident in myself if I'm, wearing Chuck Taylors versus like my Crispy Nevadas or whatever your preferred boot is. Like, it can be something as simple as that kind of get your confidence built up. Yeah, confidence kills, man. It's an important key. If you're questioning something, probably work on it.
Absolutely. Well, and just like that third axis and shooting angles, like the devil can be in the details, and it can all come, your whole hunt can all come down to this one moment, that hopefully you prepared for, and that your gear well enough, and that you have that confidence in your gear to execute that shot, man. It all comes down to that. And so walking around in the woods with confidence, and it's not like a false confidence. Like, that confidence is earned throughout the entire season, just like you put in that work the entire season with your bow, and also with your form and with your practice and the whole deal. Like that's what builds confidence for me, is good groups all summer long, knowing my bow inside and out, shooting high pressure situations, delivering in those moments. Like that bow of mine this year, like it's, I think I've only had one hunt with it, one bear hunt, but along with that and some other high pressure shooting with buddies and the Western summits and different things, like that bow is shooting, and that confidence, it wasn't built, overnight. That's been built with an entire year spent with that bow, working with it every single day and putting a bunch of arrows through it, working on that tune, working on fine tuning it. So that confidence is definitely earned, but man, that's the most powerful tool you can have in the mountains come September.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I don't now. Like, I was just up on my roof the other day because that third access, I was like, man, if I'd have just practiced like I was hunting, which was from a tree stand, I would have known something was up. So now I'm moving the targets around the yard, different distances, different angles. And like I said, I was up there on my roof. I mean, if you're going to shoot from your roof, be careful. But yeah, definitely. Practice everything, man. It really helps your confidence.
Oh yeah, you got a muley tag coming up this year, and those muleys, they're like it's par for the course to be shooting on a 30 or 40 degree slope. That third axis is so important, and so you hear people say it and you hear people talk about it. It's one of those things that's kind of tough to explain on a podcast, but it has to do with the level of your sight. And as you tilt down, the level of your sight, the way you hold your bow, it's no longer level, and so you cant your bow. And usually right-handed archers tend to miss to the right. And to actually adjust, like I know my third axis, and maybe it's just my grip and my bow setup, and I've been doing it so long, like I know that I have to crank my sight all the way to the left. And so it's like tilting my sight all the way to the left before I sight in my bow. And that's usually where my third axis is good. And you can do it a couple different ways. So if you hang like a bolt from a string, that string will be totally level. And then you can draw your bow, relax, and then aim down and kind of aim down at a 30, 40 degree slope and still trying to line up your sights on those strings. And if you're 20 and you're 60 sight, or like you have that whole level sight bar that you have in yours, that whole level sight bar should be on that string, both when you first draw back and when you tilt down. So that's a good way to test it. But for me, like I always have to proof it. I got to go shoot 40 degree slopes, and I got to go shoot it at a target and make sure it's hitting center. But that's a super important step for me. And dude, I think I learned like the same hard lesson at like hunting muleys, and I can't remember, it's been 13, 15 years ago, but I remember having a season where it was like I had missed a buck left or I'd missed a buck right, and it was like I couldn't make sense of it until the next year when I was really learning about my third axis and out there on angles, and I shot my bow and saw that my third axis was shooting way to the right, and it was like, oh man, like a light bulb went off. Like you were saying earlier, like that's why I hit right. It was my third axis. Like, so it's so important, those details. And these summer months are the months to get this stuff dialed in, just so when it comes down to season, like every successful hunt will come down to making a shot, and so you just want to prepare yourself as good as you can, shooting with your pack on, shooting, like most of my shots come from my knees as well. Do you shoot a lot from your knees?
Depending on the situation, yeah, I practice all the time from my knees, from sitting down, because I live in Ohio. We'll do some ground blind hunting. So we'll have chairs out there. So after that whole situation, I practice everything. If I even think, it's going to be a possibility of making a shot like that. I mean, there's a local archery range up the road from me, and I went there with a buddy, and we were just making crazy shots, like through trees and like having to duck down or squat, and you feel kind of goofy doing it, but it's like, hey, you never know when or where you might have to like kind of squat. It's different. So I would recommend that to anybody, is to go out there and kind of, put yourself in the position and try some different shots.
Yeah, it's so tough to shoot from a sitting position. Just you take away like your whole bottom end, your whole you don't realize how much your legs have to do with your aiming of your bow, but it's huge in your overall stability. But shooting from sitting or from, like those chairs, that's really tough to do.
Yeah, even drawing your bow. If you sit flat on your butt, trying to draw your bow, it feels like it's about doubled in weight.
Man, yeah, I don't shoot from my butt. Mine's always from my knees is where I get. But I practice like that, the wide stance, like sitting on my feet, and then also being able to raise up. And just like you said, like that, those 3D courses are so good to like challenge your shooting ability, but also like that squatting down. Like sometimes there's a branch in your way where you have to squat down or squat over, and even being on a steep hillside, it's shoot so much level ground, or I live in a level spot, and so like shooting on uneven ground, what surprises me is the uneven ground you're footing. But have you ever drawn back on a steep slope and I've got my bow so far angled over, like it feels weird leaning away from the hillside, like I draw back and I look at my level and my level's way off and I can hardly trust it. I have to move my bow about a foot to get it level. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, absolutely. And especially when all the trees are growing funny and it's not right. You know what I mean? Because you want to line up with your natural surroundings almost.
Yeah,
So when you're like,
your subconscious almost makes you line up to what's around you.
exactly. So then you bring it back to level and you're like, man, this just does not feel right.
Yeah, I've done that on quite a few critters, but I've learned to really trust my level. But yeah, man, all that stuff pays dividends. Shooting with the pack on, another one is like in my wintertime hunts. Took me a long time or some hard lessons learned that shooting in the I do a lot of like rut muley hunts and late season hunts where it gets cold. Anything more than a sweatshirt on me and I'll hit my arm with my string and my shot will go low. So I had to learn that lesson the hard way, that any jackets I wear, I've always got to have an arm sleeve or arm sleeve, or I'm trying to remember what those things are called. That you
Arm guard.
yeah, there you go, an arm guard. So I have like 4 or 5 of those things. I've got them stashed in my truck, in my pack, because I know late season if I don't have an arm guard, my shot will hit my sleeve and go low.
And you don't want to learn that during the shot on a critter, man. Like that, my third access on my bow sight cost me a wounded pig. Like I'll take a miss, but I don't take wounding an animal very, very well. I appreciate life and all animals. I mean, I know pigs are kind of destructive and, kind of running rampant, but still, it was like, I should have killed that thing and I should have known better. And that's just, I went home. I mean, the old lady shot a pig, so at least we came home with some pork chops, but that was kind of a defeating ride home. And we drove all the way to Texas from Ohio. So, just shooting from a tree stand could have saved me that for sure.
Oh man, yeah. That we pride ourselves on making those quick, efficient kills and making good shots. And the pressure's really on when we're executing on animals, and not only us, but the pressure's on as far as like making sure that all those little things are dialed in. And sure, accidents can happen and things do happen in bow hunting, but that's what we're trying to avoid. There's nothing like making it seems like it adds to the trophy and adds to the experience to keep your cool and then execute a really good shot on an animal and just double lung him and see him walk out there and tip over, or a short blood trail and he's done. There's just nothing on this earth that I found that makes me feel better, just because it's taken so much hard work, throughout the year and throughout a lifetime of trying to learn and be good in those situations. But man, that is the best feeling in the world.
Oh yeah, when you hear them crash and pile up in just a matter of seconds, you do the fist pump. You know what I mean? Like, yes, smoked them. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where it's at. Well, you've also got an inventor's mind. I know when we were talking before the podcast, it seems like everything you do, you're thinking of a way to do better. So talk about your Allen wrenches inside your quiver. I thought that was a really good idea.
Oh yeah. So years ago out on a mountain, something popped loose and I needed an Allen key that I ended up packing in, but I left in camp. So the quiver kit was born, man. I shoot foam in my quiver. I don't know if you shoot foam. Some people don't. They say it like dulls your broadheads and whatnot, but I like the foam in my quiver, and I'll pop it out and I will put every Allen key that I need in there. You can kind of like whittle a little hole out or like a little pocket for it up in there. And it holds it pretty tight to where it's not going to rattle around or make noise or be annoying. You know, you won't even know it's there until you need it. So yeah, you can put spare broadhead blades. You can do all kinds of stuff with the foam in your quiver. Yeah, I like that. You'll always have it with you as long as you have your bow. So, and that's kind of an important part.
Man, it's smart. I've gone back and forth on Allen keys. It seems like and I usually carry some in my bino harness and have them with me all the time, and those bino harnesses are sure handy for carrying things as well. Just because I always know I'm gonna have it, so I keep my tags in there and things, and keep my Allens in there. But yeah, I thought that was a good idea with the quiver, because you could also put some string loop material in there. You could put like some rest cable. Like I've had rock pikas chew through my rest cable on a hunt before, and so
Man.
that little like backcountry repair kit is sometimes just a lifesaver, and I like to always have one big enough too. It takes a really big size, but my stabilizers, it seems like if you take a bad spill or you hit on your stabilizer, you could loosen things up. So I like to have a bigger key. So yeah, that might be an option for me for one of those bigger keys. I've been using well, Travis has got that new goat knife that'll have those little Allen keys in it. I think that thing's a pretty handy invention. He's got an inventor's mind too, where he's always trying to multi-purpose things. But yeah, I just thought that was so good with the quiver. That's pretty smart for stashing things.
Yeah, those. I'm gonna have to probably get one of those goat knives. I'm rocking a Havalon right now, with actually a blade that I made on the side. But those replaceable blades, that goat's titanium, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
So super lightweight, and you got all the options to carry stuff. Yeah, that dude nailed it on that one. And replaceable blades, man, especially like you get into grizzly country. Who's got time to be sharpening a knife,
Oh man, that was a game changer for me. Those replaceable blade knives, just the whole butchering process, they just stay so sharp, and there's nothing like an elk hide to dull a knife. I remember back in the old days, you used to have to carry 2 knives and a sharpening stone and the whole deal. Like it was a whole process, and you'd have to stop and sharpen your knife halfway through. But yeah, now you just pop those things off and go, and man, it'll cut that elk hide and dull up and put a new blade on it and go for it. But yeah, I mean, even, elk are really big animals, but gosh, I can have one broke down in an hour and a half with one of those replaceable blade knives, and I do everything. I skin them, I quarter them, and then I bone it off the quarters. Tenderloins, I do that. I take the head off, and those elk heads or those elk spines are so thick, but I can get the entire head off with a Havalon, with a replaceable blade knife. It's just wild.
Absolutely. Yeah, I carry a Havalon, and I like to carry, just goes back to that personal preference thing we talked about. I like to carry a little fixed blade, as the muscle, and I've actually had to like grab a stick and baton it through things. And I was like, man, I'm glad I actually carry a fixed blade, because I don't think the replaceable blade would have held up to being beaten through whatever it was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and you can definitely break some blades with those things. I've gotten to where I can really use that edge to my advantage and get through about anything I have to get through. But yeah, there are places where that standard knife, just being a little bit tougher is way better, like getting out elk ivories and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, where you gotta like pry and wiggle and all that stuff,
Speaking of knives, man, you sure got a talent for building knives. So that's how I found you on Instagram. You build custom knives on there. How'd you get into that?
Well, hunting is expensive, so I needed a side job, really.
Good for you.
And actually, my buddy Michael was helping me out with some elk hunting stuff, and I was just like, man, like you were too good to me. I don't know how to repay you. But right behind my workbench was an anvil and a forge, and I had hammers. So I asked him, I'm like, how about as a thank you gift, I hammer you out a blade? And he's like, you make knives? I was like, no. But I did, and then it was born, man. It was born. I've been hooked ever since, and I've learned a lot, and I've made a lot of great friends through it. And I don't know, knives are really cool, man. I think that's probably a tool that most people use on a daily basis.
Oh, the coolest. And there's so many different knives out there. If from like a small hunting knife, to bigger fillet knives, to there's so much that you can do. So walk me through the process. Like, I know you've got really creative with it. Like, you use a bunch of different materials for your handles. Woolly mammoth teeth, elk ivory, different types of wood, and then walk me through the blade as well. Do you craft all your blades?
Yeah, right out on my patio behind my house, I kind of got a little blacksmith shop going. So that steel that your knife is pattern welded steel, or Damascus, people call it. And it's two different types of materials forge welded together. And then you keep upping the layer count and upping the layer count. And when you end up hammering out a knife and getting it ground and polished, you dip it in an acid, and it reveals that contrast. So that pattern you're seeing is just two different types of materials squished together.
Wow, dude, that's incredible. So it's not like a painted on finish. Like, that's where all the work came in.
Oh yeah, no, that like there's so you can go to my Instagram page and check it out.
What's your Instagram?
Listening, it's killelk_forge. Yeah, and there's some work on there. But the layers that you see, there's like a contrast. So there's like a black layer and a shiny layer. Those are actually through and through two completely different types of material. And yeah, that's not just like a paint job or anything like that. That's the steel revealing what it actually did when I squished it all together.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's wild. So that's the Damascus. Say it again for me. What is it?
Damascus.
Damascus steel, and
Yeah.
and that's like that's toted at some of the highest quality blades, right?
Yeah, there's some really awesome, talented, just super incredible knife makers out there, and those blades can get really expensive. I try to keep my costs down as much as possible. And I use the best knife steel that money can buy. It's from New Jersey Steel Baron. So anybody that's familiar with New Jersey Steel Baron knows that like their 1095 is just like, he prides himself in his 1095, and it's just the best steel on earth is what it's sold as. So good materials, and yeah, man, like you said, the handles and everything. It's just I try to use the best materials that I can get, and just like, I'm not trying to get rich, I like seeing people enjoy the art, and like, wow, like, I can't believe you made this, and like, I'm going to have this forever, and I'm going to give it to my kid, and they're going to give it to their kid. And it's just like, that's worth it. Like, all the sweat and blood and tears and me suffering in front of the hot forge when it's 90 degrees and 100% humidity in here. Ohio can get rough, but it makes it worth it. So,
oh man, that's some good heat training for that early season mule deer hunting. Right now I'm getting ready for Nevada, where everything in my mind is heat training. I'm running the hottest part of the days and the steamer. So yeah, being next to that fire in that 100% humidity, oh my gosh, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it can get brutal in there, man. And then I weld all day for a company here in Ohio. We manufacture machine guns, actually. So I got a pretty cool day job, but that weld shop's hot.
Man, I'd say, how cool, like a labor of love, like you've been down the rabbit hole. The coolest thing is that you've taught yourself how to do this and create these beautiful knives. So man, that's really awesome.
Yeah, knives are cool, man. So I'm kind of a nerd about like gear and stuff like that. So, and when I love something, man, I just get totally wrapped up in it, totally immersed in it. And it's just, I'm having fun. And it seems like people, I think they're enjoying them. Nobody's complained yet. Nobody's broke anything or told me how terrible they were. So I think everybody's enjoying them.
Oh, dude, they're
But,
beautiful. They're an absolute work of art. Yeah, from the blade to the handle to the function. Yeah, you're creating some really high-end, top-quality knives. So yeah, good on you, man. And it's like anything that you love to do or have passion for, like it usually comes out good in the end, doesn't it? It's like it just seems that way. If you really have passion and interest in things, it comes out right.
absolutely, man. It helps me for sure. If my heart's not in it, then you're not gonna get 100% out of me. And like, I don't know. That's why I love elk hunting so much and just spend so much time. I think my wife hates Onyx Maps because I'm addicted to e-scouting.
Yeah, well, it's a way we can pay our dues when it's not season. We can be studying up. I know I have a bunch of good hunts, and I'm just constantly looking over those maps, trying to memorize those mountain ranges and mark vantage points and plan hikes. And it seems like the work is just never done. It seems like you can put hundreds of hours into it, and that just pays off come season. You just know that place inside and out like the back of your hand. That's really cool. You got some big hunts coming up this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Onyx or base maps or whatever, just e-scouting in general is a game changer. I started hunting in Colorado, and I had nothing. I had nobody. I didn't own a GPS. I just kind of wung it. You know what I mean? It was going off landmarks like, oh yeah, there's a little patch of aspens or a boulder field, and once I get to that, I know I'm gonna get in them. But yeah, I finally drew my mule deer tag for Colorado this year. So this is the first time I'm hunting muleys. I'm really excited about it. I don't know that much about mule deer hunting because I've kind of become an elk nut and just totally obsessed with elk and chasing elk. So I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, who doesn't want to kill or chase big mule deer bucks in the high country, you know?
Yeah, right. All of us. Yeah, that's where it's at. But you're going to a spot where you've elk hunted before and you've glassed up higher in these basins and seen muleys consistently, right?
Yeah, every time I've been in this basin, I've seen deer, and somebody told me while I was out there, they're like, when you find those deer, they're going to be there year after year. And then the same guy told me, I don't know if this holds true. Maybe you can say if this is real or not. He said, if you want to kill a mule deer buck, go sheep hunting.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I think he was referring to like the bigger, like nastier, steeper, rocky, just knob, like get up in there. And that's where I used to see these bucks. So hopefully, and I think the last time I was there was 2014. So I'm hoping not too much has changed.
Yeah, well, it seems like things are changing in the Muley Woods, but it seems like historic places that are good, usually stay good. And places where you find bachelor herds of bucks hanging out, you can usually count on bucks being there year after year. So you can't always count on the biggest one being there, but yeah, if you've been seeing muleys in there, you can probably count that there's going to be some around there. And he's exactly right. That mule deer hunting, it's why I fell in love with it. It's the country that it takes you to. It takes you to the most extreme country in the lower 48. It takes you to that steep up where sheep and goats live. So man, those alpine basins, mule deer need places to feed, so they don't just live in the rocks, but they do bed in the rocks and bed in some steep country and live in that just rough, rugged country. So, dude, you're going to have a blast. It's like a different style of hunting than elk. Elk is hunted real aggressively, and mule deer are hunted a little bit more patiently and methodically. Like I hunt them aggressive as far as getting plays and making stalks on them, but the plays are way slowed down and way more methodical and like the hands of a clock. Everything is really slow, and it can be slow on elk as you're getting into them too. But I think you'll really like the contrast. Like they're both just awesome Western hunts that, if I had to pick one or the other, I don't think you could make me pick. I definitely love both of them, but yeah, you're just gonna enjoy the different styles and a different hunt out west. It's a different experience for a different species, and through that'll make you a better overall hunter and a better elk hunter.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's kind of going to be different for me. I bought like one of those little Thermarest butt pads so I can just sit in glass. I'm not used to that, It's normally like go and like just covering ground and trying to find something, but I think I'm going to just pop a squat at first light and just start glassing, man.
Yeah, so usually when I hunt elk, it's more of a mobile vantage point where you really get in and you're covering country and you're glassing every opening, maybe working a ridge line, looking down in. And yeah, muleys are a touch different where you really try to find the master vantage point that shows off the most country or the best country. And then, yeah, you sit down and you live and die behind your binos. Mule deer are a little bit tougher to glass than elk. Elk seem to stick out with their bleach blonde bodies, but those gray mule deer with those gray coats on them, they look exactly like a rock. And sometimes these deer can be 200-300 yards down below you in an opening, and you miss them. You really have to glass everything close in front of you. Work your way out, really glass country. But then, if you're not seeing bucks first or last light, they're not there. You just got to move on. So I think you'll enjoy that. Like you end up mountaineering a lot of country and working a lot of ridge lines and putting on a lot of miles just trying to get to new basins. So it's got that same, Western extreme hunting makeup. It's just a touch different. So you're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to get above tree line in probably a few years. And man, I just love the alpine. And the old lady doesn't. So like when I bring her, I kind of have to cater to like, okay, like I'll compromise a little bit on where we're going to go on this hike or whatever. But I can't wait to get camped way, way up top and do some glass. And so, yeah, I got 8 days. I'm going to be hunting by myself in Colorado, and then I'm going to meet my wife at my friend's house in Washington, and we're going to drive up into Idaho and hunt some elk for 2 weeks.
Oh, good for you. You do have a big hunting season plan. You got a mule deer tag and an elk tag. You're going to be all in going for it.
Yeah, I bought a deer tag for Idaho too, just in case.
Nice.
I didn't do that in Colorado because I would be almost positive it would turn into an elk hunt.
Yes, I know the feeling. Sometimes it's good to only have one tag that you can put your sole focus on, because those hunts do tend to morph. What kills you is it when you get into Colorado and you see that giant bull and you didn't buy the elk tag.
I know. Me and my buddies were joking about it. I was like, "Yep, 3/4 of the way up there, he's gonna be standing."
Yeah, I've definitely played that game before. I remember me and Dan on a deer hunt, and I'd killed a buck, and we went to this other spot we had scouted looking for bucks, and turned up some there, but we just turned up this giant bull, and he was just feeding in the perfect spot that night where we could have killed him. And it was that place had elk tags. It was the day and age where the elk tags didn't sell out, and so yeah, we went down that night. We drove all the way to Walmart, and he picked up an elk tag, and then we went and hunted it for the next few days. We didn't end up killing that bull, but we had some good opportunities and some close calls. But yeah, that's kind of the way it is. It's like the nature of the beast. Whenever you're hunting mule deer, you tend to run into elk, and vice versa. But it is nice just to have one tag, and I know I sure don't regret putting all my effort into a mule deer tag or all my effort into an elk tag. You're just not so scattered, and you don't have as many tags to worry about.
Yeah, so that was kind of the deal with Colorado. But I'm equally looking forward to both hunts. And all my gear's packed up right here. I'm staring at it, man. I can't wait to leave. I've got some new stuff I'm testing out this year, so it's kind of going to be a little experimental. I think that's, like I said, I nerd out with gear, and I mentioned I hunt with my wife, which is, it's cool, but they say like buy nice or buy twice. It turns out when you hunt with your wife, you have to buy nice and then you have to buy twice. So, no, I'm not complaining by any means. She's awesome. But it's cool, though, because I can justify getting new gear and then, like, handing my old gear down to her. And she doesn't have a problem with it. Usually she was jealous the year before. So it's going to be awesome, man. I got my wind floaters ready. I don't know. I highly suggest everybody pick up some wind floaters if you're going to be hunting in the mountains. It's like a little fuzz ball, and you just pop a little piece off and you let it go, and it'll tell you exactly what that wind's doing as long as that thing's in the air. It's fantastic, man. I don't know how I hunted all these years without them.
Oh, that's right. I had a guy on one of the summits that gave me some sort of a seed, and I can't remember what it is for the life of me, if it's a seed or if it's part of a tree, it's like you say, a wind floater instead of a wind checker. So the wind checkers with the smoke are great to tell what the wind's doing right around you, but it's pretty quick. It disappears over the hill, and so that's a new idea for me, is those wind floaters. Where it's something just so lightweight and airy that you can let go, but then you can watch go 20, 30, 40 yards. So you're not just testing the air around you, you're testing the air currents where that thing's floating down to. So, man, I bet that thing's like a huge advantage in reading wind and telling what the winds are doing, a distance away. Do they sell something like that, Logan?
Yeah, they're called wind floaters. And I don't know who makes them. I have my can from last year. The labels kind of wore off of it, but when you buy them, you get enough for like the rest of your life. It's like a tiny little can, like a plastic little can, and there's a hole in the top of it. And what I actually ended up doing was I took a foam earplug from my blacksmith shop, and I cut the very tip of it off, and I stuffed it in that hole, and then I electrical taped the earplug tip in that hole, because if they get damp, they don't work so well, and you never know when you're going to get blasted with rain or you get wet walking through some brush in the morning dew or whatever. But yeah, they're just a big old lump of these little fuzzes, man, and they will tell you exactly what that wind's doing. We sent some out when it was pretty windy, man, and it was amazing how far. Like, I was watching them in the binos. I was like, oh, it's still going. We were like taking bets on whose little wind floater was going to go further. It was they're incredible pieces, and it was like $6 or $7 for the little can full of them. So that's I get excited when I deploy the wind floater.
Man, I'm sitting here looking at a bunch of neon yarn and stuff at my fly tying desk as I'm talking to you. I'm sitting right next to it. It's like, I wonder if that would work. But I like even the cottonwood seeds, like those things really blow around here in the summertime. But yeah, I'll get on the internet as soon as I get off this podcast. I've got to have some of those wind floaters. Yeah, that stuff. Like you say, it just gives you a better understanding of the wind. And in those mountains, it is like a higher understanding. Like for me, it's not just checking the wind. It's like knowing the wind, like knowing what the directionals are doing and how they're covering the ridge tops and what's a dominant wind side and a lee wind side, and then really understanding the thermals and understanding that they come down when the mountain hillsides are shaded and that air cools and it drops through the canyons and through the lulls and the drops in elevation and moves downhill and the flip of the coin is the morning when the sun warms up that valley floor. It warms up that air around it and it starts to rise those uphill thermals, and so like really understanding those and in the mountains. And then using a wind checker or a wind floater even better, like that's really going to tell you what the winds are doing. I bet you let that thing go, and when you've got an uphill thermal, it just takes off like a balloon up the mountain, huh?
Oh yeah, man, it's incredible. It's incredible. I still carry the wind checkers, but the combination of them is fantastic. I forget who said it. It maybe about Oregon or something. They said if you don't like the wind, move 5 feet. And it's true, man. It's really true. You never know. It's kind of like an eddy in a river in some spots, like where it hits some structure and then it's kind of swirling back on itself. So you got like a back current. The wind will do the same thing. And it's kind of hard to tell with those little puffer bottles when you're in one of those pockets. And sometimes those pockets can work to your advantage. Like you may be able to cut the distance to what you need to get a shot if you know exactly what the wind's doing. But if you're to like, well, it's still early and the thermals are coming, sucking down, I'm going to wait. you might actually lose an opportunity. So definitely, they don't weigh anything. They don't cost anything. I won't leave without them to go elk hunt or mule deer hunt or anything.
Man, all right, I gotta get some. Yeah, I really like the way you describe that wind being like a flowing river around rocks and back eddies. It's so true. Like that's what the wind does. As it's moving through the mountains, it's like a flowing river everywhere through the mountains, back eddying, blowing on itself. Like that's the perfect description. I love that, Logan.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like I'm like, oh, like our wind is terrible, so we got to get around this little knob. And then I get to the top of that little knob, and I'm like, the wind is still terrible. How is this even possible? And it's just a terrain feature, like dictating what the wind does. Even though, by the book, you're like, well, temperature and my crosswind, like, I don't know. Sometimes it just does what it wants.
It's so true. Sometimes, like, you can make all the sense out of it, what the thermals, what the directionals are doing, and sometimes you just get over there, and that's just not the case. It's like, oh hell, it's coming out of the east. Like, I didn't even think the wind was blowing that way. But it's wild. You said it best. The wind does what it wants.
Yeah. Have you been still using that Windy app that you were talking about?
Yes, I have. Yep, I use that Windy app quite a bit.
And you like it so far, huh?
I really like it. Yeah, I think it gives you a really good
Could you
general.
Expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so that Windy app, so it's an app you can get on your phone. It's called Windy. It's a red app with a white W in it. And so the Windy app, they use it, like the guys in Hawaii told me about it. So they use it out there for surf a lot and for reading their winds as well, mostly for surf and things. But they show me this app, and this app shows you the direction of the wind, and it predicts the future winds for up to like 3 days in front of you. And it shows you the winds, but it also shows you how the winds move through these mountain ranges, so you can look at your exact GPS location and see what the dominant winds. Now, these aren't going to be thermal winds, these are going to be directionals, but these directionals really take over by middle of the day or so and blow hard through the afternoon. And these directional winds, it'll show you the way the directional winds are going to move through your mountain. And I just find it to be super accurate. And sometimes they'll predict a wind change, and it's spot on. They'll say at 3 o'clock it's going to change from the south to the north. And sure enough, it does it. So it gives you wind direction and also gives you wind speed. And so I really like it. It tends to give you a really good general direction of which way the wind's going to be blowing that day in those mountains.
Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be downloading that as soon as we're done on here.
Yeah, it's a handy app, yeah. And those directionals, when you can get those directionals and thermals both working in your favor, that's when elk die. It's like you just get them both working in your favor. And I know for elk hunting in Montana, we get a lot of windy conditions, and a lot of times stalking those bulls, like that wind just covers your noise so well. It just lets you get in really close, where they're unaware of your presence. So yeah, man, super handy. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm super excited about that. Another tool, another tool.
Yep, another tool. It's like all these facets of hunting that we're learning about, and whether it's stalking or whether it's whether it's learning the winds and a better understanding of the winds. Like all this just goes into our skill set to help us during the fall, because during the fall, during elk season, it's like, how many opportunities are we really going to create? Hopefully if we're good hunters and, we have good instincts, a good game plan, we've done our research, I hope to create 5 different encounters on nice 6-point bulls that I want to shoot or more. But, 5 chances, boy, you really got to get everything right, because sometimes those elk are just going to win. So, that automatically, cuts your chances down to 2 or 3 legit chances at killing one of those bulls. And it's all going to come down to those micro decisions you make, whether to move in, whether to close from a top, whether to wait for a better wind or hunt them in their feeding features. Like all these micro decisions, they go into whether or not you kill that bull or not. And so, I'm definitely ready for my backcountry test, and hopefully get everything right.
Oh, challenges, man. Challenges are life. That's what makes life fun, is challenging yourself, And I love a challenge, but I try not to have too much expectations. The moment I leave for a hunt, that's successful to me. So just getting, you know what I mean? Living in Ohio and getting in my truck and like, okay, I got 8-day mule deer hunt in Colorado and I hit the freeway, that's automatically a success. That means I worked all year. I got everything, all my bills paid, the house is taken care of. That's a success. Like leaving to go hunt for me is a success. So, I just hope for one opportunity every year, and try not to expect too much. And just like you said, decision making, try to make the best decision.
Oh, it's a great way to look at it, Logan. It's the way we all need to look at it. We all are just so fortunate to be able to be out there, and the fun of this deal, like sure we all want to be kneeling behind a big 6-point at the end of the season, but really the fun of this deal is the journey, the leaving your house, like going on these big adventures, being in the mountains. Like if you don't enjoy the journey and the process, like you're not enjoying the overall experience. So like I get pretty goal driven in the mountains at times, but I gotta just remember like how lucky I am, enjoy like the challenge of it and how tough it is. And really when I look back at hunts, it's not that end arrow that I remember. I remember all the tough times and all the laughs and the trials and tribulations that you go through on a western elk hunt. And so, man, you just got great perspective, and I need to remind myself of that too, is to just really enjoy this season. And I'm so lucky to be able to have the time and to be able to be in these wild mountains and have like an elk tag in my pocket or a deer tag in my pocket. I'm so lucky. I better soak in every minute of it, every free day, every minute, and really embrace it, because I've been looking forward to it and dreaming of it all year long. And when I'm finally there, I can't be so fixated on the end goal. Like I love being immersed in the challenge, and so that's part of the fun for me, is to be hunting elk and trying to solve the puzzle and trying to arrow this 6-point bull. I love that. I just need to love everything about it and appreciate it as I'm in the mountains, because I'm pretty fortunate for sure.
Absolutely, man. And that's it just goes beyond. Look at all the awesome people you got to talk to during the summer doing your podcast, during the Flycast. A lot of this stuff, I don't know. Would it be possible had you not been bow hunting? There's just I've learned so much just from your podcast. I can't imagine, out of all the people that you've talked to, it's just hunting is just a life changer, game changer. It's just a lifestyle. I don't know, man. I love it. I can't get enough of it. It's an honor to get to be on here and talk to you, and I don't know, man. What a wonderful thing.
Dude, it is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Yeah, you got a great outlook on it, man, that's exactly it. So fortunate to be able to learn and do this and meet so many great people, and all through bow hunting. First bow when I was 12 years old. I just never thought it'd lead to this, and man, when I really committed to bow hunting, gosh, the 22-year-old me would sure be impressed at where I've made it from that, from just shooting a stick and string. So yeah, man, it's been this wild ride that I'm so fortunate to be part of. But dude, I'm so glad like I got to meet you and have an in-depth conversation. Your knife building is so next level, and I can tell how much you love and live the bow hunting lifestyle 365. And I can't wait to see what you turn up this season. So you have to come back on after you fill that big muley tag and that Idaho elk tag.
Hopefully there's some critters, going in the freezer this year. We got a pretty big year lined up. Ohio whitetail is always good to us, and probably be hunting Tennessee for some deer, some little tiny deer, and then another pig hunt in Texas. So hopefully there's a bunch of meat in the freezer, and hopefully you do awesome this season also, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody turns up. It's almost that time. I think I leave in like 40 days. That's crazy.
Oh, it's so cool, man. It's right around the corner. Yeah, you guys have some.
40 days is nothing.
40 days is nothing, right? Yeah, I think, I think I get started off here August 10th, so I'm at like a 20-day countdown.
Whoa, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, getting down to it. But it's so fun meeting like-minded people. So impressed with your knife building again, man. What beautiful knives you build. Man, and your bow hunting. I can't wait to see what you do this season. So keep in touch with me, and man, this has been really fun.
Absolutely, Brian. Thanks again for having me on, man. It's awesome. I love your podcast. It's super educational and just fun to listen to.
Man, you're the best. Right on. Sounds good, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, Brian. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Fun conversation with Logan, man. That guy loves to hunt elk, and a great inventor's mind. It's just wild some of the people I'm able to meet in the through the podcast and have these in-depth conversations with, and I really enjoyed that one with Logan. So hopefully you guys are making your elk hunting dreams come true. Right now is the season. Absolutely cannot wait. I'm getting out of here today. Well, tomorrow, I guess. Gonna watch my daughter's volleyball games and then take off tomorrow night and get over and meet my buddies and start in on some elk hunting. I cannot wait. So hopefully big giant 6 points in my future and in yours too. I want to thank our sponsor for the show. I want to thank Zamberlan Boots. Again, just making the highest quality boots. I'm so impressed by these things. The two pairs I'm using, if you guys are interested in, their Burley tennis shoe is a 103 Hike Light RR, and then their low height boot is a Zamberlan 320 Trail Light GTX. Just amazing boots. I'm so impressed by them, and thanks to those guys for their support of the podcast. And with that, time to go get packed up, get out of here for some elk hunting. The funnest time of the year. So I'm going to go chase them around. I got a couple different tags. Just really looking for one good bull this season. If I can find one good 6 point that I'm really happy with, elk season will be a success. And just have some fun and try to make the people around me better, my buddies better, family. Try to really help them out, help them reach their goals. They're such good people and would do anything for me. I just want to return the favor. So excited to get hunting with some buddies, and already been hunting with my buddy Dan, always pulling for his success. I know he'll be out hunting hard. And, man, just that fun time of the year. So it's gonna go by in a flash. So I'm really trying to enjoy it. I got out yesterday morning. I got back from this latest mule deer hunt and trying to fit in some antelope hunting in between these hunts or when I can get out. In fact, I think I'll make it out this afternoon. But I made it out yesterday morning, got a couple plays, had a really nice buck just give me the Houdini. I don't know where in the heck he went. I was so slow. I was so quiet. He had a couple does. Last time I saw him was 200 yards. The hillside he was on was shaded, and everything else was in the bright sunshine. So I'm not sure if some of my scent just drifted over the hill in my final approach, and I didn't see him spook out of there, or if he just moved off, or if aliens transported him. I'm not really sure. He just absolutely disappeared. I spent another hour looking for him, just different coulees and canyons and coming over the edges of stuff, and never could turn him up. But I'm thinking I can make it out this afternoon and go see if I can turn him up in the same spot, grab a really good low vantage point on it, and see if I can't get a stalk. I did end up getting a stalk later in the day, found a nice heavy buck with a bunch of does. Man, I thought I had him. They were moving. I got in front of him, and he came by me at like 20 yards with a doe, and I didn't pop up because he had a dozen other does in there, and they were just working by me. Finally, at about 35 yards, I was able to pop up, get a range on him, and get ready, and just kept clicking him, and he just would not stop walking with those does. They were on the move. Finally, at like 50 yards, out of desperation, I tried to make a little noise, like those antelope make, just tried to get him to stop and turn around and look my way. But no such luck. He kept moving and no shot. So fun to get out and chase those things around. It's amazing. Like one morning of antelope hunting, I've already got 2 stalks. Where mule deer, I'm really looking for a good buck. But I mean, we're talking a couple different states, 20 days of hunting, and I have 4 stalks in. So antelope sure sharpen your skills, or sharpen my skills, and good to get a couple stalks under my belt before elk season, because it all comes down to those small moves you make trying to get into bow range and execute a shot. So just a great warm-up. I think I'm going to get out this afternoon, and I might get a session like tomorrow morning or something like that. I know I've got to make both volleyball games and kind of get packed up and ready to go, but I may be able to fit a couple hours in. So fun to chase those things around. It's just fun being into fall, into hunting season, and I am so excited to get after some bulls. Man, oh man, been a long time coming. I can't wait to see a good six and be able to go after them and see what I can do. So a couple good hunts coming up for those things. So, man, so fortunate to be able to have this time to go chase things around. It is just so fun, and nice to have this podcast kind of be ahead of things, be able to take off and have some good recordings out to you guys. And I'm going to have to get back on it here and get some good recordings, but there should be plenty to talk about with a lot of guys having success this season and adventures. So I'm making a good list of my next podcast guests I want to have on, and things I want to talk about. And it's good. It just gives me such renewed vigor for things, to get a break from it and be able to go chase my dreams in the mountains. So having so much fun sharing it with you guys. Thanks for recording these solo episodes, or all the episodes, really. Just appreciate the support. You guys are the reason this thing goes. So I love doing it. I love backcountry hunting, and man, I appreciate you guys and the support of this podcast. So thanks a million, guys. I hope you're out in the mountains chasing your dreams as well, and I'm really enjoying sharing in your success. Keep after it, guys. So fun, and it's going to be over in a blink of the eye. So appreciate you guys. I'll check in with you next week.